This is Mercury is going into Taurus. I follow Mercury, right? Especially retrogrades, but I'm not always pinpointing, oh, Mercury switched to this sign or that sign because Mercury moves fast. It's valuable insight to pay attention for certain things, contracts, communications, etc. I love a lot of the lessons about Mercury and Taurus. So Mercury goes into Taurus on May 10th until the 25th. So what is this? Basically 2 weeks. But there's a lot of cool lessons that tie into this in the tarot. So I'm really using it as a great activation to talk about this point, if you will. And right now we're kind of in a cool flow of Mercury. The sun is in Taurus at this time. Mercury goes into Taurus while the sun is in Taurus. And then then the sun goes into Gemini, and a few days later, Mercury goes into Gemini. So there's a nice little dance with the sun and Mercury, I feel like right now. Mercury is our communication and the sun is our radiance. So on one level, this is an openness, right? A revealing and a sharing of communications. Just share your truth, man. It'll all work out. But Mercury in Taurus has some really cool lessons around scarcity and concern and fear, as well as a great positive message. And I want to show you where this is revealed in tarot. So this is kind of more of a tarot lesson than it is just Mercury and Taurus teachings, but I want to show you how the flow of tarot works. So if you pick a card, 9 of swords, like ruin, you're like, oh no. I mean, that's relevant at the time, but you have to remember that the cards are in motion. Tarot is a holy book that is unbound, that is always in motion. Let's get into some of the basics. Mercury in Taurus, its archetype is Mercury is the Magus card and Taurus, all right, let me shift this here, and the Hierophant card. Now, Mercury, we know, moves fast. Mercury, the Magus card, moving fast, adaptability, brilliance. There's nothing the magician, the Magus cannot do. The teaching is the only thing the magician can't do is to say, I can't. This really is adaptability is a key word, but it can figure anything out, and we have that in us. So think Mercury on some level as a great opportunity of maybe an accounting, if you will, a maneuverability, a figure it out, right? So where do you feel stuck? Now, the Taurus archetype, the main big card that is attributed to Taurus, I should say, is the Hierophant, the expounder of the mysteries. It's the spiritual teacher. And in the beginning, I always struggled with this because I think of a teacher, some lofty, sort of etheric something or other, entity, energy coming from all these high realms and dimensions. But if you really think about it, Taurus is attributed to the spiritual teacher here because the spiritual teacher in this, the Hierophant, the expounder of the mysteries, is taking these higher concepts and grounding them and making them real and putting them into practice and says, here is a practical tool for you. Remember, Taurus is kind of earning through your talents. Where do you apply yourself? Well, in spiritual growth, bottom line is it's up to you. Like, this is your soul. You came here to planet Earth for your own mission, your own growth, and your own lessons to be learned. Okay, so it makes the most sense that this is an Earth sign and one about, okay, you got to do it. Like, the seeds don't grow themselves, right? You have to till the soil and plant the seed and nurture it. That's what a spiritual teacher does. Here are some tools. Here are some methods. Here are some teachings, but now it's up to you. How do you apply that to your life? So that's kind of the simple of it. If you really look at these two, this feels like a great flow and a way to figure out application of your life. So if you want to level up, whether it's a talent or creating more resources, the accounting is kind of figuring it out right now. And on another simple note, Taurus really is material prosperity. It's really security, right? But, do you have shelter, food, shelter, all that kind of stuff. But again, remember, it's ruled by Venus. So it also is love, right? Food, shelter, love, cozy, nice house, all of that. You feel safe and secure, but then you create that security and prosperity through your abilities and your talents and doing the work. Opposite the Taurus energy is Scorpio. We're coming up on a Scorpio moon, full moon. And Scorpio is sort of the archetype of support from the universe or inheritance, where the Taurus is earned, right? So you earn it, you did it. And again, deeper teachings about value and self-worth. I've touched on it a lot. But I want to get into Mercury in Taurus and what to be mindful of. So this 2-week period. Again, this is a deeper flow. These teachings in this video is going to be relevant even whatever sign Mercury is in or Taurus season or any of that. So again, this is sort of giving me the inspiration to go deeper into the tarot. And there's just core lessons. Of course, there's a lot of core lessons with Taurus, though, that fundamentally have to do with self-worth and self-value. Mercury in Taurus, which happens to have its own tarot card, dun da da, and it's this, the 5 of Discs, the card of worry. And there's a lot of great lessons to be had here. Okay, the 5, bummer, the card of worry. Am I overthinking everything? I'm going to get a little more detailed in this, but overall, it's worrying about material pressures. But let me show you how the flow works. Before we got there, the flow of the tarot is the last of the cardinal cards, 4 of Discs. Now pull out your tarot. Look at almost all the 2, 3, and 4s. And they're really positive cards. You're like, because that's that positive inspiration where you're like, all right, we're starting something new. It's great. So it's like a honeymoon phase. Well, 2 is kind of the honeymoon phase, if you will. And then, hey, all right, now we gotta do the work. So Capricorn, this is the sun in happens to be sun in Capricorn. This is the 4. It's the card of power. It's all, let me see if I can get that in focus here. But it's like, okay, I'm going to use the analogy of business because Capricorn is executive talents. It very much is business. It's success. And this is earth and money. So, all right, I got a new business, Ace of Discs, financial new beginnings. I moved through the energy. I got here, power. Look at it. Look how stable that is. It's like, okay, we got the company. It started. We got our space. We got our office, however you want to think of it. Everything's set. Then the energy flows to the next disc, worry, 5. Like, you know, it's kind of a O-S-H-I-T, like maybe you're confronting yourself. Oh, what did I do? What did I get myself into? Can I handle it? What's the next move? Do I have to hire more people? Do we have enough funds? Do I need investors? So this card, the 5 of Discs, which is Mercury, you can see it here. It's a little tricky, but you'll see Mercury and you'll see the symbol of Taurus here. This is Mercury and Taurus. This is that story. But what we have here is an inverted pentagram. These are the elements. And then the top is supposed to be spirit. So when you're dealing with an inverted pentagram, you've upended spirit, right? This is why it's a satanic symbol. Satanic symbols, they'll just invert everything. But Satanism is like the hell with spirit or God or something more divine. Everything is right here. It's the earthly realm. That's where the worry comes in. So if you look at this inverted pentagram, it looks like it's sort of just like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. And so Taurus's shadow side is scarcity. Well, now this is overthinking your scarcity, focusing on every deficiency you have, right? So, hey man, I got this big new business. This is great. Oh no, reality. What do I have to do? Now I'm running into fear and concern and I have payroll coming up. How do I do it? Talk to anybody with a small business like a coffee shop or a small contractor or something like that. Always concerned with making payroll in my experience and people I've worked for in particular. But what's your payroll? What do you have to pay out, right? So how is the weight of the world on your shoulders? Now, that is that card. Mercury is going to be over-processing, overthinking it. Now, here's the other thing that you have to account for in this flow of the small cards is the Tree of Life. Let me show you the numbered page. The 5s all come out of Gibora here. So I'm getting a little better at it. Gibora, which is force. It's ruled by Mars, so it's like action, power, right? So if you look at all the fives in the tarot, they're coming in too hot. They're too intense. The story isn't just Mercury and Taurus with this card. It's Mercury and Taurus coming out of Gibora. And so it's like where you're trying to take action and then you're sort of neurotically obsessing on everything you don't have. Well, I don't have enough money for that, or I can't, whatever. I'm too fat and old. Some version of that where you can't, scarcity, doubt, things like that. Taurus can be the sign of poverty on its very negative side. And so where is the weight of the world on your shoulders? But if you really look at this energy that I showed you in the beginning with the Magus card and the Taurus card, this is figuring it out. So this, it's only 2 weeks, but it would be an opportunity to have clarity on one level on doing accounting, even financially, but doing accounting on what is it that you really love and want to share. And you'll see on a core level, it's not about the thing. It's not about the basket weaving. Now, when you combine everything and find there is the exterior on some level, applied with skill. But if you mostly just for now start applying skill and fall in love with it, things will open up for you. Like I am sharing what I love the most, which is this work, these teachings, right? But working for $11 an hour at Erewhon, I still applied what I'd like to share in the knowledge. So I learned it, and that is sort of simple. But here is where I've dedicated my life. And it took overcoming my own blocks and insecurities and scarcity. No, nobody does this for a living, right? So that was very Taurus, and I just learned to get better at apply it how I apply it. But if you are feeling like, and I think a lot of the planet, scarcity, right? All this stuff like this, let's just take what's happening now in the zeitgeist, like the tariffs and the uncertainty and the markets up and down and what's happening and nobody knows. I mean, even now we've been starting to actually do the construction and building out the office. And I asked our contractor, someone I do trust a lot, and he also he has integrity with the energy of what we want for this space. He gets it. And I was like, do you think any of these materials will tariffs affect? And for this job and everything, he feels overall probably not, but it's like a concern. It's a worry of mine. So I got a little 5 of discs, like what's happening, nobody knows, right? But a lot of people are taking it to a whole other extreme. I've been saying for years, just always figured to try to get ahead financially with a lot of these energies coming into play, but don't succumb. Now, what's the solution here? I'll tell you, but first, I want to get into this card. And I really love this lesson. Well, I think it's called the 5 of Pentacles. This is the Rider-Waite deck. And you see these two sort of poor, quasi-homeless, old, medieval beggar types. They're in rags. One poor person's has crutches. They're just bedraggled here. And it's cold. It's winter. And here they are just out, aimless, stressed. That's like the negative side of Taurus at its finest negative. Yet if you look at the 5 Pentacles there, that is actually meant to be a church. That is a stained glass window. The light is coming out and there's a golden, warm light. And there's a church that is a symbol of charity, that is deeper, is a symbol of spirit or God. And that these two poor people choose not to go in. They choose not to receive the help or the alms of a charitable organization, right? And again, this is all coded, not about a church, but a sanctuary of divinity that will give you that light and warmth that they need. And maybe, a hot meal or whatever the case is. So there's sanctuary and you'll be provided for, but they choose to stay out in the cold. They don't even know. They don't realize it. And this card represents that as well, meaning now you've put spirit at the bottom and you've only put earth. And so you have no faith now. In magic, the official teaching, the bylines and laws, spirit always provides. So if you take a moment and realize, okay, even when things seem horrible, you do in that moment always have exactly what you need, right? Even if you're like, I'm, $4 million in debt. But also it's like, it's the lesson of a little more faith and spirit, right? I love the saying, worrying is praying for things you don't want. And when you put so much intense energy on that, and the simple lesson of all of this, do all the accounting and assessing and figuring out. But if you do feel stuck, right, especially in the realm of finances or whatever the case is, it's, again, this is only 2 weeks, but use it, you'll receive some clarity and things will start to make sense. But if you just succumb to the scarcity and the worry, another way to look at that is where you just focus on everything you don't have. The simple solution is gratitude. Gratitude helps you have a little more faith. And again, not blind faith, but we've all seen miracles happen, and this will thwart the miracles. Now, what's the next card though, right? Because we went from the 4, Capricorn, big success, power, got the business, now what? 5, you got to remember this is the 5 though. And 5s are about editing. So what do you need to tighten the belt? Where are you wasting? Right. But overall, edit the world is everything's on your shoulders. Then the next card is this beautiful 6 of discs where we just had a great Taurus new moon. I think everybody felt that shift, right? I certainly did. In fact, I didn't think all of a sudden we'd be moving forward on the, on our studio space that, I've been talking about for some time. It's just been an issue of money. And now we're moving forward. We just installed these huge windows, and it was that part of the job was way bigger than I thought. But I'm telling you, I crossed a new moon portal, not about like views and social media, but I did find it interesting as far as expounding the mystery. That new moon video that I posted on social media, at least on Instagram, got like 130,000 views, which for me is like one of my top highest. I had one other video go more than that, but that for me and where I'm at, that was a lot. Again, not about the views, but the signal from the universe through that new moon portal of Taurus, which is supposed to be success. Moon in Taurus, this is the card of success. The moon, why is this success? Well, all the stress and the edge of the buzzkill of 5. Now, when you say, all right, I'm going to infuse spirit, I'm going to have some faith. Well, that's 6, the union of microcosm and macrocosm. Look at all the 6s in the tarot. That's what's happening. It's harmony, right? The 6 Sephiroth is beauty, but it's beauty of the cosmos, the harmony of the cosmos. It's all working out now. In this case, how did it work out? Through the moon, your inner self. So that part of you that's worried and stressed and the weight of the world and I can't make ends meet. How could I ever get ahead? Well, it shifts. So have some faith that it's going to shift. And so it's, on some level it's inner work, but again, your true self is your talent, and then sharing that, and then having some faith and bringing some faith in something higher, helping you put in a word, God, goddess, etc. Then to ruin your day, that energy moves to this failure, 7 of discs. This happens to be Saturn in Taurus, but really what this is now that you've had this success, you've kind of done this accounting with the Mercury, you kind of have some clarity. Well, now maybe you don't turn that into worry. This isn't like a predictor. This is all these cards are solution oriented. And the message here is, hey, the failure is like either where you didn't do the work, what you've neglected, what can you address. On some level, something about that card feels like a karmic clearing. But again, Saturn and Taurus is like life on life's terms. That's very Saturn. Now that I did the accounting, where am I deficient? Let me open that thing that I was fearful of, whether it's financially or whatever, or confrontation of your own insecurities or whatever the case is, or I didn't know enough about that, or I could have played that better. Well, that's just take the failure, look at it. But overall, it's called indolence. So that's a card of neglect. So you can just kindly and lovingly say, all right, what needs work? That's all. Don't make it a big deal. It's not that you didn't, you're such a loser, right? Just let go of that. Like, live and learn. And the failure card is also twofold. And where is something just not going to be? All right, you know what? And just let it go and move on. And don't let this dead weight take you out. But it can be a message of either some sort of lost dream awakening, where you can apply yourself, look at what's been neglected, and just get on it. That's all. I think we all have like great ideas of projects creatively or business or whatever, just better life. And so that's the flow of this energy. I didn't bring it out, but the next card is the 8 of Discs, which is a nice Sun and Virgo card, which is the card of prudence. But it's like, okay, what is that? Okay, we just started to do the work. And it's all working out great. Sometimes we have to go through an editing phase. 5s ask us to edit, to change, right? To like clear away blocks. Again, the 7 of Discs, well, 7 is what? Is Venus. Venus can be illusory successes. Oh, I thought I'd do this more. Or I thought I'd do this. Whatever the case is. And so I just think this is a cool lesson in the flow. The last disc card is the 10 of Discs, which is the card of wealth. That's the end of the story there. So even when you're in this worry or heavy failure and, Taurus, scarcity, it all winds up to wealth. The simplest lesson is faith in spirit, but also some faith that spirit will provide for you based on applying yourself and applying your ability. And so it kind of is a message of co-creation. And so apply your talents, apply your abilities, the true ones, get clear on that,